from Hero Initiative, a charity set up to help creators and writers of comics. Tell us a little bit about your charity.
Well, the Hero Initiative has been around for a little bit more than 7 years now. We started off as an organization called ACTOR, a commitment to our roots, but changed the name about a year and a half ago, simply because whenever we explained who we were and what we were doing, we kind of had to get over that hump of explaining, no, we're not about actors, we're actually about comic books. So we wanted to go to the acronym route the first time around, but we switched to Hero Initiative. It's something that definitely speaks a little bit more to comic books. Basically what we do is we are an emergency medical and financial relief organization for many of the old-timers in the comic book business. There's a lot of guys who worked in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, even into the 1970s, when economic conditions just weren't that good for comic book creators. Very often back in the old days, writers were working for a penny a word, artists were making $5 a page, and generally speaking, industry standards, it takes you a day to draw a page. So they're working for $5 a day without benefit of royalties or any kind of ownership or anything like that either. So many of these guys really created the groundwork that comics are now built on. And if you take a look around this convention center today, you've got 100,000 square feet worth of space, you've got oodles of fans, you've got plenty of dealers, you've got plenty of publishers doing well for themselves and making a lot of money, and that's great. It's wonderful to see what comics has really grown into, but so many of the guys who created that groundwork, who sort of laid the basement, laid that first floor for the tower that comics now is, they didn't make a heck of a lot of money. And a lot of those guys are now up there in age. A lot of them might have medical or financial trouble, and very often they don't have any place to turn except for something like the Hero Initiative. So we've been around for a little bit more than 7 years. In that time, we've been able to help over 30 creators and their families with almost $400,000 worth of aid. And a lot of it has gone to emergency operations that they couldn't afford to pay for, that weren't covered by insurance. Sometimes it's gone to pay the rent. Sometimes it's gone to pay the electric bill or the heat bill to keep the lights going in the middle of winter. So in the time we've been around, we feel very good about what we've done. We've been able to make a very positive impact in a lot of people's lives.
That's awesome. And you guys set up a lot of events as fundraisers as well. Like you guys had the UCLA Marvel Den Now last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's now on DVD, by the way. Which
yeah, there you go.
Help.
Pick one up. Pick one up.
Yeah.
As a charity, I mean, we're happy to get money from wherever we can. And very often at a convention like this, people will just walk up and they'll give us $10, $20, whatever. And hey, listen, I'm very, very appreciative every time that happens. But I'm also a big believer that any relationship truly is a two-way street. It's a give and a take. So we try to do something to really create value when people are giving us money. We've published a number of books. We did something last year called the Ultimate Spider-Man 100 Project.
Yeah.
We got 100 different artists to do an original Spider-Man cover, publish them all in a 100-page book. It's available for $10. It's got practically every major Spider-Man artist you can think of doing a piece in there. And it's a great $10 product. We did what you mentioned, Marvel Then and Now, which was we rented out a hall at UCLA last December. We had Joe Quesada, the current editor-in-chief of Marvel, along with Stan Lee, the original editor-in-chief of Marvel, and they had a little symposium that was hosted by Kevin Smith. Sold tickets to the event, and it's now available on DVD as well. So that's another product that we really think is a cool thing for any fan to have. It's something that really creates value. That DVD is available for $25. You should definitely buy one by going to thenandnowdvd.org. Pick one up. But again, we're very happy for money wherever it comes, but we really like to look at it as a true two-way street, true relationship. We want to give you something when you're giving us something.
Yeah, the thing is, the charity is a really good charity in the sense that it benefits people who really just work for their passion. They love to do comics. A lot of people, there's a local union for almost anything in any city, and it rewards and helps people who work at a craft. But it doesn't really reward people that
you really
follow their passion.
Had to do it for your passion back then to be making that kind of money when you could probably make a lot more money,
Absolutely, and there are so many guys, who were around in comics in the 1950s and 60s. Like one example is John Romita Sr.
Yeah.
John Romita, of course, was a Spider-Man artist forever, and he's really the guy whose style is most associated with Spider-Man. John is now part of our board of directors as well, and we're just honored, to have John as part of the organization. But John always says, it's like, hey, when I was working in comics in the 1950s, 1960s, we didn't know for sure, if it was going to last. We didn't know for sure if I'd be able to make money and raise a family. I thought at any minute, I'd have to, go into the advertising field or something like that. So the guys who did this, by and large, you're absolutely right. They did so for love and not a heck of a lot of money. So we're there to sort of hopefully balance those scales on the back end when something like that is needed.
That's cool.
How would you say
the industry is? What's the state of the industry you think today as far as comics are concerned?
As far as creators are concerned, it's a lot better playing field than it used to be. Royalties kicked in the comic business in the early to mid 1980s, and now if a creator is working on a book that's selling a lot of copies, the creator gets some participation in that as well. They'll get some royalties on the back end from the publisher. Also, there are opportunities for creators to own their own properties like there have never been in the past. You know, obviously some guys like Dave Sim. Dave Sim is a man who I have tremendous love and respect for. Here's a guy who started Cerebus